Hi, everyone. I was just going to let you know our public input has been updated and now I can't mute and unmute the bridge. So I'm getting ready to connect it. So anything from this point on, the audience will be able to hear and it will be recorded, just so you know. We're about 5 minutes out.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shanika. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Test.
Hey, internet.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Councilmember Hess, are you ready to begin? We're about 1 minute out.
Yes.
Okay. 1 moment.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Hey, Bo.
All right, we are live.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Bo Hess, the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and I'd like to welcome you to the May 29th, 2025 remote meeting. All council members and staff are participating virtually, and to help our audience follow along, I'll state each section of the agenda aloud. We are streaming live on our virtual engagement hub, which is accessible through the virtual engagement hub link on the front page of the city website. We also have an option for the public to listen by phone by calling 855-925-2801, meeting code 11543. For those of you out there with us today, welcome. For today's meeting, we have the option for people to call in and comment live during the meeting. To call in and comment live using the same number, 855-925-2801, meeting code 11543. Your phone will be muted and you will hear the meeting live. At this point, speakers will need to push *3 to enter the speaking queue. I will now go through and introduce all the committee members and staff who are participating virtually. Council and staff, as I call your name, please say a quick hello. Vice Mayor Antoinette Mosley.
Good morning.
Councilmember Shanika Smith.
Good morning.
City Manager Deborah Campbell.
Good morning.
City Attorney Brad Branner.
Good morning.
Police Chief Mike Lamb.
Good morning.
Fire Chief Mike Case.
Good morning, everyone.
Police Deputy Chief Jackie Stepp.
Good morning, everyone.
Police Deputy Chief Sean Ardema.
Good morning.
And Assistant Fire Chief Chris Buzinski.
Good morning.
Welcome, everyone. Now I will turn it over to our city manager for the agenda.
I think you have, Chairperson, the approval of the minutes.
Yes. Do I have a motion for approval of minutes from the last committee meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and we will do a roll call vote since we are participating virtually. Vice Mayor Mosley,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
and myself, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Deborah. And now I will turn it over to Deborah for a review of our committee scope.
Thank you. And good morning again, everyone. This is your first meeting of the newly named Public Safety Committee. We are glad that we are back having our committee meetings. And for those of you who have been in some previous meetings, Housing and Community Development, Planning and Economic Development, I want to start out by apologizing because I think a lot of the information that you're going to hear this morning is going to be a little bit redundant and repetitive, but this meeting is designed really to be an orientation because, as you know, the committees have been restructured, new names, and really focused around a lot of the recovery efforts. So this will likely be, we hope, a short meeting, and we'll go to the next slide, please. So you know we always start our presentations with key takeaways. And essentially, this presentation will cover the fact that the council established 4 priority recovery areas when you all had your retreat, and a lot of the work of the committee, as well as staff and the boards and advisory groups, will be working within this framework in this context. So your priority areas are foundation for, again, developing the work plans and for allocating recovery resources. You established 4 council committees that will play kind of an integral role in helping shape policy direction and, again, guiding your advisory board's contributions moving forward. And all of this work really is about alignment. It is about strategically focusing scarce resources on the most important things and hopefully the most impactful things that will help improve the quality of life for people who live in our community. Council committee scopes and work plans, they are informed by City Council's annual recovery priorities and goals. And so in the context of looking at the things that we will be working on from a staff perspective, we really crosswalk those with what are the goals, what are your priorities, and we'll talk a little bit toward the end of this presentation about the items that will be specifically coming to this committee. And again, committee work plans include a combination of ongoing administrative items along with policy considerations that, again, will guide the work of advisory boards and other committees. Next slide, please. And so your recovery priority goals and areas, really focusing on 4: people, economy, infrastructure and environment, and housing. And I will go into a little bit of detail. And again, I apologize for those of you who have heard this spiel quite a few times probably, and maybe that's okay to remind us of, again, being very strategically focused on what we are trying to achieve in the upcoming fiscal year. Next slide, please. And so under people, I'm not going to read all of the things that are under this category, but some of your goals, for the most part, is to focus our efforts on supporting residents recovering from the disaster and the impacts. And I would say both residents, businesses, as well as our visitors, ensure clear, consistent communication so that people feel informed. One of the things that we heard in terms of positive feedback during the disaster, we were commended and complimented on keeping people informed. And people knew what to do as a result of that high level of communication. Strengthen neighborhood level preparedness. That is the responsibility for preparedness during any kind of disaster is not just the responsibility of local government, state government, or federal government. It is a community responsibility as well as an individual responsibility. Recognize that pre-existing vulnerabilities are amplified in disasters, and we need to work particularly to help those that are most vulnerable. Next slide, please. Under the economy, and again, you all have heard these, but let me try to summarize to say that we are trying to shore up our economy in a way such that it can be a bit more flexible, resilient, and that our economy is diverse in terms of not relying on one particular sector of our economy. Next slide. Infrastructure and environment. Obviously, the most impactful thing that happened during the storm was damage to our infrastructure and generally our natural environment, in particular, our tree canopy. And so our efforts and a lot of our focus has been on rebuilding infrastructure with a focus on long-term resilience, trying to strengthen the city's ability to prepare for and respond to, climate-related disasters. And this is about pre-positioning. It is about how do we build our infrastructure and our entire community in a way that we can withstand, hopefully we don't have another storm. But if so, that we will build back better. That has been my kind of tagline from the beginning of this storm. Next slide. And under housing, help residents navigate post-disaster housing challenges by connecting them to available resources and funding, support temporary and permanent housing solutions for displaced residents, and advance housing stability efforts such as home repair programs and regulatory flexibility to increase supply. And you all have taken some steps to do that with actions that you all took early this year in, again, reducing obstacles and barriers to developing housing in specific locations. Next slide, please. And so now we have our city council committees. And again, this is, a good start for us in terms of recovery, getting back to what some would say, kind of a normal rhythm and routine. The council committees that have been established are policy, finance, and infrastructure, housing and community development, planning, economic development and environment, and public safety. That is highlighted in yellow because this is this committee. It is the public safety committee. And if you would note that these council committees obviously have an alignment with your priorities and the goals of your priorities. Next slide, please. And so what is the scope of this committee? And please stop me if you all have questions or want to add anything. Committee scope of the Public Safety Committee. We advise, or you all advise, on public safety policy direction in the areas of police, fire, and emergency management services. This committee was formerly Environment and Community Safety, and we've narrowed that emphasis mostly on police, fire, and emergency management types of services. Review matters relating to intergovernmental relations, again, related to public safety issues, including cooperation with other law enforcement, fire, and emergency management agencies. Next slide, please. Provide guidance on disaster preparedness and recovery, and support the development of and updates to the Emergency Operations Plan, the EOP, and the COOP, the Continuity of Operations Plan. The chair is Mr. Bo Hess. Members are Vice Mayor Antoinette Mosley, Shanika Smith, and I, and Talia, and Brad. We left Brad's name off. Will be staff support for this committee. And your schedule, which is different from what was previously a monthly meeting, this will be every other month instead of monthly. And so your next meeting will not be until July. Chairman Hess.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So I actually spoke with the mayor right before the meeting, and there are some items that we would like to see, or she would like to see, on the July City Council agenda. And so we were actually hoping to call a special meeting June 26th, and then we would go to every other month. Because we only have one council meeting in July, and we pretty much wouldn't be able to get anything to council till fall if we waited until the end of July for our next meeting. So if that would be okay with everyone, I would like to do that.
Give me a minute to check. What's the date?
Vice Mayor Mosley, I think the last Thursday in June would be the June 26th.
And same time at 11 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, I'm not available that day.
I have something then too.
Would June
So
19th
why don't we, Chairman Huss, I don't know why I keep trying to call you your first name and last name. Let us check to see what might be the best date. And we don't have to
Perfect.
coordinate that right now. We'll get up with the other council members and see if we can find a date in June. And I'm assuming you're going to share what that topic would be as well.
Oh, yeah.
Or we can wait until we're talking about the items that will be coming to the committee, if you got whichever you prefer.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll just jump in. I have a question related to the scope.
Yes, ma'am.
I've noticed that this doesn't say anything about noise. Is noise part of this committee's purview?
So it is, something that we've struggled with, Vice Mayor. We think because implementation and enforcement of the noise ordinance is actually not a public, I should say, APD responsibility other than after hours. We think probably in planning and economic development might be the most appropriate committee to address it, since it is a development services enforcement authority now.
Totally makes sense to me. The reason I was asking is because, as you're aware, HCD had such success, I believe, in coordinating with AHAC when there was someone on the committee that served as the liaison. So I was really asking because I'm the noise liaison.
Person. Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm on here, I was just wondering if someone from that other committee should be considered. So I was just making sure that wasn't under the purview of this committee.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
I don't.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. This particular slide got a lot of conversation I heard from in the other committees. What we are trying to do here, well, we said council committee guidelines. We're just essentially trying to establish some consistency in terms of how each of the committees operate, how things get to the agenda, just for the most part, protocol for the committees. So we've got 2 members of a committee can add or approve agenda items. I understood that there was some concern, particularly with the next one, mayor or city manager can request that an item be added to a committee agenda, that maybe there should be some opportunity for the chair person to add something to an agenda. We have been operating, for the most part, I know, I remember, Shanika, when you were chair, you would always say, I want something on the agenda, or someone else will say, can we look at da-da-da-da-da? You would say consistently, is anybody else interested in hearing this? And then it would come to the committee. So we have been kind of working that way, and it may have been just practice, and we're just trying to make sure now that it's protocol. And Vice Mayor.
So the way the first sentence is written does not on its face appear exclusionary to me. Is the intention to say that something can only come to committee if there are 2 in favor? Or are we saying the chair can put something on the agenda, and two members of the committee can also put something on the agenda. What's the intention?
The intention is two members of a committee, irrespective of whether they're the chair or not. Just two members, just another member saying we want to hear, engage, discuss, deliberate an agenda item. What we will do is probably bring this to the work session, which will be policy, finance, and infrastructure, and just have a conversation about whether you all collectively want to do this. Do you want to say that the chair alone can bring something to the committee? We just felt that, collaboration, it encourages collaboration, and it encourages, a lot of like-mindedness in terms of concerns about an issue that would come to the committee.
So I love it. Now I'm trying to see how that even conflicts with bullet number 2, in particular, the city manager, because I have always been under the impression that anytime staff brings something to committee, it has gone through the city manager, and therefore the city manager always puts
Something on the agenda. Yes,
Is that not the case?
that is the case.
So the only difference is whether the mayor solely is able to put something on the agenda. So if the mayor wants something on the agenda, but two others don't want it, it still gets to the agenda, but the two others vote no. Is this
Could, yes,
Could,
ma'am.
But that's
Yes, ma'am.
what works in a practical sense.
Yeah, and what we were doing is really mirroring with this second bullet is how items get to the full agenda for your work sessions, your business session. Generally, the mayor or the city manager, and Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that is the guidelines for things getting to the agenda.
That is correct, Madam Manager. And as you have said, the committees act as subgroups of the full council. And there's already rules in your adopted city council rules dealing with the mayor's ability to place things on the committee agendas. So what we're trying to do here is, as Deborah has said, just to add consistency amongst all of the new committees so that everyone is playing under the same publicly known rules about how you as committee members also have a certain ability to place things on the agenda over and above what is already the process under your city council rules.
Makes total sense to me. Now, again, looking at this from a practical standpoint, say we want to do something about a fire hydrant. Is there a form that two members have to do to get together to say, because what if the chair doesn't want it or whatever? Is there a process that two members have to get together and say, we want to talk about fire hydrants in this meeting? Like, how do we know to do that before we get our agenda?
You can send something to the staff person that's supporting the committee, copy the chair, and say, two of the committee members want to discuss this at an upcoming meeting.
Okay.
And we'll be fine with that, and we'll add it to the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And then staff would have sessions with the chair and say, this is, hopefully you got a copy and a request for this to be on the upcoming agenda. And that would work the same way with all of the other committees. Okay. All right.
I need clarity
Yes,
on
ma'am.
something.
Sure.
Let's just say that a topic does not get a second member push. The mayor can then override that decision and then get it put on the agenda.
It could potentially work that way, Shanika, I'm thinking, or the city manager could say, does it need to come to a committee? Is there a way that we can resolve it? there's a lot of ways that we can address an issue. I think the concern is, does it have to be addressed through the committee process, or can it be addressed outside of the committee process?
My thought, Shanika, on that is if it's something that the mayor wants, but the majority of the body doesn't want, why even bring it to committee? You might as well just bring it to the
To full council.
full body.
Yep.
But that's what I was trying to think. Is there any situation where a vote had to come through committee before it can be brought to full council?
Not necessarily, no. Again, we don't necessarily have all of the answers. We are reconvening. We are going to take one step at a time. And unfortunately, some of these, when we cross that bridge or get to that bridge, we will collaboratively figure out the best step forward. How we work through these concerns and issues, and I hope that they again will be in a way that is a democratic way, that we all collectively agree on the path forward. Okay, a lot of the work of this committee will come from an organizational work plan that staff is currently developing. A lot of the work will be from previous work that, because of Helene, got interrupted. So there's a long list of things that committees were working on that that are still important, that may not be specific to recovery, but we feel from a staff perspective has alignments with council's priorities and their goals. And so we will be providing that to you all at your June 10th work session of policy, finance, and infrastructure. And then council committee work plans will inform boards and commission work plans. Again, and this is really, really important. It is the alignment. It is an acknowledgement and a recognition that our staff resources are really, really stretched thinly right now. And, if there's an operative word, it is focus, and it is also, we got to be strategic in terms of how we utilize these scarce resources. And we want our boards and commissions time to be relevant, to be, I guess, rewarding for them in terms of their assistance and time spent to influence public policy. And we heard that from the realignment group that they really, really want to help. We want them to be working on things that the organization, both elected officials and city staff are working on. So again, it will be a rewarding experience for them and be meaningful. Next slide, please, unless there are any questions. So what are some items that will be coming possibly to this? Not possibly, but this is definitely not an exhaustive list. These are examples of things that we know for sure will be coming to the committee. Expansion of the drone program, emergency operations plan, the after action review and report. You all will get quarterly updates from the police department and fire, the civilian traffic crash investigator program, technology in law enforcement, which is a little related to the drone program, but for the most part, it's the real-time something center and public safety bonds, and then grant requests. So those are, again, not exhaustive at all. You all meet for an hour and a half, and I think these are things that you all can chew on. And I think, Chairman, it's time for you to maybe add an item that you said the mayor wanted this committee to discuss.
Yes. So I think one the civilian traffic crash investigative program, we'd like to expedite that. But there's also, we're hearing from the community a couple of things that are of concern. One, people are concerned about a social district that might be coming up. And so I think hearing from fire, our public safety apparatus, and our colleagues about their concerns about that. And then also, sticking with our economic incentivization piece, the business community is also asking to increase the number of live shows that we have downtown. And so that would also put a strain on our public safety apparatus. So just getting thoughts from colleagues and them so that we can hopefully put that, if it goes well in committee, onto the council agenda.
So my thought on that is, as it relates to, for sure, the number of shows, is that a noise issue? Such that that's are we calling it PEDE or is it petty? Call it petty.
We don't say petty because
Okay.
it's a PEDE.
Okay, PEDE. I'm just asking, just in case we're unable to schedule another one. Could both of those go through that committee if that committee is already meeting?
I think the live shows is really related to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hess, this is about some particular venues that are outdoor venues. Or are you talking about live shows anywhere in that are in the anywhere? I'm trying to get if this is related to a number, a cap established by the noise ordinance.
Yes, ma'am. So the way I understand it, and Brad, chime in if I get anything wrong, but this would not be a venue specific change. This would just be across the board downtown. And so, for example, right now we have a cap on, and Vice Mayor Mosley, you're exactly right, on the noise ordinance at 30. And so that prevents any other shows from coming in. But there's a lot of spending that happens. So if we could increase, and I don't know if 50 is even, I would like to, again, bring that to the committee to discuss, maybe 40 shows. But the businesses downtown are really struggling, and those shows bring in about $400,000 worth of runoff spending. And so really just looking to see if we can update that if there's support.
And I would suggest maybe that item, since they do meet monthly, might go to PEDE, since the majority of noise ordinance related type items will be going to that committee anyway, unless you all specifically, because there are a number of topics that we take to 2 committees, 3 committees, who knows, depending upon, the scope. We could do it in both committees. It's up to you all.
No, I think that's a good idea. I mean, if we don't need to meet next month, and Vice Mayor, if you think this would be more appropriate in another committee, and they are meeting and we can still get it on the July agenda, then let's do that. I was just thinking, many more people downtown. I would also like to hear what public safety does think about those changes. But yeah, I mean, let's not, and then we could just stay bi-monthly from here on out.
We could have the staff there at the PEDE committee meeting.
Okay.
Shanika, you were on mute, were you?
No, I'm doing something else. I'm sorry. But I do agree with your suggestion of sending it to PED, and if need be, it can come back through this committee. But I think PED is probably where it should, the conversation should start.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll put it there, the social district.
Well, the social district is a little bit different. I would just do the 30 to 50 because we're still getting community feedback and meeting with some neighborhood associations and business about the social district. So we'll hold up on that.
Okay, sounds good. But we could add it to on the list and then schedule it sometime in the upcoming
Absolutely.
year.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. We can do it. Next slide. So, in
Clarity about
sorry.
the district thing, is that a recommendation coming from, since we just went over what these new rules are gonna be, is that a recommendation coming from the staff to hear social districts? Is
From the
that
mayor.
it coming from the mayor for us to hear it? Okay,
Evidently, that's what I heard from the chair.
because is it coming from the chair or is it coming from the mayor?
So the 30 to 50, I was asked to put that on our committee meeting, on our committee, but it sounds like if that will go to PEDI, then let's do that. The social district, I would like to separate that from that because that's a whole different thing. I don't want them to get intertwined. So let's just hold off on that. I'm not really recommending it where it goes because we're still getting feedback from the community on that. So I'm not set on that. So really I was talking about the 30 to 50 shows.
Well, I'm asking about the social districts just to make sure we're in line with what we just went over with. So my question is, even the discussion of social districts going on this agenda, is that solely the request from the chair? Or is staff seeking to bring it to us? Because if it's just the request of the chair, we need to get together to make sure we have two at a later point, not today, to see if that's going on our agenda. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying we just went with a new process. So I want to make sure we're not moving outside of the process. It's not an opposition. So when Deborah said it's going to be on the next agenda, we don't know yet.
Well, yeah, not next.
heard
We were
on
just
the
going to add it to the list of items and you all can deliberate or not deliberate on it.
Okay.
Yes, again, these were examples of possible items. And yes, I thought I heard earlier though, Bo, that you had said that the mayor had asked for 2 items to come to the committee and that you wanted a special meeting. And I may have misheard you and you were only talking about the live shows, the noise ordinance changes.
Right. I think the other one, unless could come through us, but let's hold off on that for
Absolutely.
right now, because I think if we put them together, it's going to complicate things. And so let's just separate those out.
Okay, all righty. So the next steps, where do we go from here? We being staff, have been working on departmental work plans and our organizational work plans. It's like, again, what are we going to be working on this year in alignment with your priority areas, your council goals, and we will have that draft of those items for you all to look at on June the 10th. And on the 25th, there will be a workshop with boards and commissions. No, I'm sorry, I have that date wrong. Let me get that date updated.
I believe it's
for you.
June
It's
16th.
June 16th, Monday, noon to 2 at Harris Cherokee Center. And that has been scheduled. And they will also, they being the advisory board chairs and co-chairs will have the benefit of the work plan that the various committees will be working on, and it'll give us an opportunity to really align the 30-something boards and commissions that we have with council committees and their work. Hopefully by July, for this committee, we'll finalize the committee work plan over the next several months. We'll come back with a schedule that says, for example, in possibly even July, there may be some items, and then every other month following that. And again, getting that alignment with the council goals and council committee work plans. Hopefully that will be completed by August in terms of the advisory boards. Next slide, please. With that, any other things you all would like to discuss?
Council members? Staff?
If not, that concludes our presentation.
Councilmember Smith, did you look like you were about to say something? Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you soon.
But do we have public comment?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's
I'll
okay.
I'll get the hang of this
know,
then,
Chairperson, you are new. That's okay. That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
So
Talia?
I will open it up for public comment.
We do have two callers on the line. Caller 6029, you will have 3 minutes to speak. And I'm getting ready to unmute you. I'll let you know when you're unmuted. Okay, caller ending in 6029, you are unmuted. We cannot hear you. One moment. I apologize. Caller ending in 6029. I will now unmute you and we should be able to hear you. Can you do a test, please, before your time starts?
Yes, test.
We can hear you.
Me?
Yes, your time starts now.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Patrick Conan, and I'm a resident of East West Asheville. I'm happy to see that we're back having this the committee meeting again, and it's kind of back where it started a few years ago as the Public Safety Committee. I wanted to first express my concern around this committee meeting only every other month. I think with the way council meets sometimes twice a month, that there's a lot of public safety policy topics that move through the process. It just seems odd to me that this committee is only going to meet every other month. And I think the discussion in this meeting already shows how that's going to create some challenges with different policy efforts that we want to move forward to full council. So I would just recommend that this committee take another look at your meeting schedule, and if possible, see if we could do these meetings every month, because I think there's plenty of items to discuss. I also wanted to comment on the public comment process for this meeting. Prior to this iteration of the committee, there was a public comment session at the start and the end of the meeting. And when the public is only able to comment at the very end of the meeting, it means we can't weigh in until everything's been discussed and all the votes have been taken. So prior to 2020, when this committee met in person, the committee would often let the public comment after a staff report or prior to a vote. And where we find ourselves today, it just seems like the public has very limited opportunities to provide meaningful input to this committee. We can comment after it's all been figured out, but I would rather have the opportunity to weigh in at the start of the meeting as well. And since you can only comment at the start or the end, I don't think it takes any more of your time to do it that way. Regarding the way that this committee will work with boards and commissions, I just wanted to highlight that the Citizens Police Advisory Committee has not met since 2020. Our city has changed in a lot of ways since then, but we've left our only resident-led advisory board on public safety matters on the sideline. So I think if this committee gets up and running again, it would be a great time to reform and restart the Citizens Police Advisory Committee, as well as the Recreation Board and any other boards that haven't been meeting to this point. I understand that staff resources are limited, and that might be part of why you're meeting only every other month. But I really think that if more of the public's work is done in committee meetings and council meetings, you won't have to do check-ins or 3x3s to provide feedback between meetings. And that actually takes even more staff resources. So, I'm very happy to see this committee up and running again. I just encourage you all to consider ways to make sure the public is able to participate and weigh in. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more caller on the line. Caller ending in 0852. I will unmute you and you will have 3 minutes to speak. I'll let you know when you're unmuted. Caller ending in 0852. You are now unmuted and your time starts now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's great. Good morning. My name is Jensen Gelfond, and I live in West Asheville. And it's really great to see this reform group back together. Welcome to all the committee members. And I just was feeling some curiosity about the format of the meeting, being a remote meeting. There's just a lot that can't be done when people are not able to look each other in the eye. I think we all felt that, during the COVID times. And, I'm thinking about the time after the hurricane now, and we all got to get together in person. We were forced to be in person in the time after the hurricane. And amazing things happened when neighbors got to see each other, look each other in the eye and work together. And the format of this meeting as it stands, being remote only, I think that actually distances us all from each other, and it especially distances the public from the decision-making process. And my curiosity is just around, what are opportunities for the meeting to be hybrid or otherwise in person? There is a rich things that can happen when people are together, either before the meeting, after the meeting, or during the meeting. And, there's just a lot of opportunities that are being closed off because of this meeting's format. And the topics around public safety can be really complicated topics, and people have wide ranges of opinions. Things will even get heated sometimes. And, it's a very sensitive topic area and a very important topic area for this town. And it feels like a topic that should be, resources should be put to allow people to all be at the table, all be able to look at each other and all have the rich conversation, that public safety topics deserve. So I would love to see that discussed and potentially, increase the ability to make things in person and have those rich discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who commented. Council members or staff, any other comments or issues?
I do have a comment. There was one item I would like to be placed on our list of things to discuss in the future. That is the Community Responder Program, AFD. And I think the last we heard about that program, it had transitioned from a pilot to an ongoing program. And we added new members and maybe some peer support specialists to that group. So I would love a fresh update of where they are right now, especially since adding those community-based professionals into our structure. I would like to see how that relationship is going.
And I would suggest that that would not be a separate item. It would be be incorporated into the quarterly updates
Okay.
for AFD. And yes, and in fact that the name of that group has even expanded to REST, R-E-S-T. So we will make sure that we have and include it on a quarterly basis and an update of that team's effort. And I must say, we are so proud of the work that they are doing and did, particularly during the storm, to address some of the needs of our unhoused.
Yeah, I couldn't think of that name change to save my life. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Councilman.
And Chief Case, I think I got that correct. Chief Case, our Assistant Chief Chris Bazinski.
Yes, it is the AFD REST team, Resource Engagement Support Team now. So, and in fact, we just had a discussion. Chief Bazinski and I just had a discussion about that team today and met with them for their progresses earlier this week. So they are continuing to be a great asset for this city.
And we'll have that as part of our updates.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming, and I will see you soon.